the burning of the poem. Poetry is a fire. Poets are firemen running towards the fire. We are the fire. There is no escape or any need to. Poetry, like fire, is elemental. And so we breathe and burn the ecstasy of the fire. I choose not to believe in war, holy or not. If I were Christ, I would be a drink of water. If I were Buddha, I would gladly kill myself in the garden of your eyes forever. If I were Muhammad, Mecca would be the journey in your touch. If I were a Jew, the Holy Land would be the covenant of my blood, singing Hosanna in your veins. If I were an atheist, I would call your every footfall God, leaving footprints in the moment. When Donald Trump visited Europe, supposedly to honor the fallen, dead, not just of America, but of the war, he basically pointed out to the landscape of dead bodies, dead soldiers, and said they were suckers and losers for giving their lives for their country and for their fellow men and women. So this is for Donald Trump, suckers and losers. It was a dark web of sedition, an orchestrated act of political violence, an angry mob wired and hardwired, blinded by social media platforms, a gathering storm of broken parts, an insurrection triggered by words and blood from their commander, their chosen one, a call to bear arms against an imaginary sea of trouble. It was the execution of a well-oiled hoax to take democracy hostage as the insurgents stormed our country's capital the afternoon of January 6th, 2021, armed with AK-47s, loaded with disinformation rage, shouting fire in their crowded theater as defense for their treason, their siege broadcast live via satellite across America in wild time as the world watched the riot, as Trump gleefully watched the rot. Beautiful people, he said, with love in the air. And he watched, and he watched. As the starving locusts descended, a purple testament of bleeding conspiracies, prophets of death, agents of destruction, smashing doors and windows, crushing bodies, proud boys waving the stars and bars, defiling the halls of Congress to make America great again, living backwards into a dark future based on fraud, to undo the election results, to stop the count and steal the vote, a rebellion to invent favorable narratives for the dictator who would be king. Our nation's deadliest flower. There is a river. There is a cheerful ignorance, a chance meeting, and luck like gold that cannot be mined or stolen, a common atom, a dance, and stars that trick the water with their certain magic. Do not wash your wars in it. Take your holy rituals to the precious fountains built by your agencies of fear. Press your wine from the fallout and drink your bitter victory, for yes, there is a river, a giving river that will sing you safely, a river of light, final, fast, and free, where you can disrobe and leave your casual sadness walking sideways at the shore. Meet me there, whoever you are, and we will agree to swim it together.
SA Griffin is een iemand van Los Angeles. Hij is dichter, schrijver en acteur. En een van de mensen die dicht in de Beat Generation onziet en nog heel tijd zit. Hij is wel een van de laatsten die het nog oer is. Zo'n beetje van de Beat Generation in Los Angeles.
Ik ben geïntroduceerd aan SA door Bert. En als zijnde een hele goede vriend van Bert. Bert correspondeert al jaren met SA. Ze hebben een hele mooie vriendschap opgebouwd over de oceaan. En ik vind het heel erg leuk om erbij te zijn en om er deel van uit te maken. Want SA logeert bij mij.
Vanwege de honden?
Ja, dat hoeft niemand te weten, maar dat maakt niet uit. SA logeert bij mij en ik vind het heel mooi om te zien hoe twee mensen die elkaar alleen maar kennen via literatuur en via een uitgebreide correspondentie, elkaar eindelijk in levende lijven ontmoeten. Dat was een heel ontroerend moment, vond ik. En we waren ook nog aan het luisteren naar een koor. Dus ja, ik schoot op dat moment helemaal vol. Ik heb gisteravond en nacht flink met SA zitten bomen. We hebben samen een fles single malt soldaat gemaakt. En gepraat over wat ons allebei het meeste bezighoudt. En dat is toch de poëzie. Dus als ik moet zeggen wie SA voor mij is, dan is het een dichter. Een zeer, zeer gepassioneerde dichter.
Mr. Griffin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We also know you as an actor.
Yes, sir.
As a writer of poems.
Yes, sir.
What was first, poems or the filming and the acting?
My parents met each other in Ohio.
That was the first acting.
No, that was how I got here.
Okay.
And that's how I found the poem, and that's how I found acting, because my parents met each other. They it was a very brief romance, and back then it was like, people got married, because if you're going to have sex, you're going to get married kind of stuff. And they knew each other about 3 weeks, and 9 months later I'm here. So it kind of proves my point. But there is no poem if I don't have my mother and father to bring me here. But no, I as terms of the acting or the poem, it's very difficult to say. First kind of came Johnny Mathis. And I heard Johnny Mathis on the radio when I was about 4 years old. Because American cars back then, in 1959-60, it was possible to turn the radio on and even start the car without a key. So I figured that out, and I turned the radio on because I wanted to hear it. And out came Johnny Mathis. And it struck me like that, like Marlon Brando would say, like a diamond between the eyes in Apocalypse Now. And I knew that this was something that I could do and I really wanted to do. So I started out as a singer. And then next, probably at the same time, comes Dr. Seuss and the poem. So it all happens together. And then right at the same time was Steve Allen. And Steve Allen blew my fucking mind, even when I was like 5 years old. Like, this cat is it. This is what we do. And so I kind of always wanted to be Steve Allen, too, and that's actually what my initials stand for. So I'm very proud of that, but I don't use it. I'm very proud of it. It's my treasure. And so, anyway, it's hard to say what came first. It's the chicken or the egg. And most creative people, I think, are exactly the same way. It's very difficult to say, well, what came first? Well, I fucking breathed, And when I breathed, in came the poem, in came the acting and the singing. So I did start out as an actor and a singer, but I had been writing poems since I was at least 12, 13, and Bert knows this. This is why I'm here with the poem. I break out the world's tiniest violin and send me sympathy cards and candy and flowers, whatever the hell you want. But I had a typically bad childhood, really from hell. And to the point where I was, by the time I was 13, I was really considering killing myself and all that kind of stuff. And we'd moved from the neighborhood that we had lived in, Richmond, California, which was pretty tough. And the schools reflected that, so to speak. But then I moved to another neighborhood, and they studied poetry. It was junior high school. Mr. Bates was a teacher. My friend, I always have, like I'm sure you guys do too, private little contests with my friends all the time. It's not a contest where somebody wins or loses, not really, but it's like we really push each other that way. Because when somebody does something really fucking great, it's like, wow, isn't that great? You know what I mean? But yeah, you want your turn too. like, oh yeah, I did it, and it's because they tell you, and they don't tell you because they're obligated, because that's BS. That's just BS. It doesn't make, it ain't gonna make the cake rise. So so Rick Herndon and I would do the poems. One of the poems that we memorized was Invictus by William Ernest Henley, and that poem has changed countless, probably millions of lives since it was written. And when he wrote the poem, I believe he was a friend of J.M. Barrie, Peter Pan. And he had, I forget what the reason was, but they cut off one of his legs, maybe both of them, but they cut off his leg. And he kind of probably didn't want to live. And so he wrote this poem, I think because J.M. Barrie might have encouraged it, I'm not sure. And the character of Captain Hook in Peter Pan, I believe, is based on William Ernest Henley, because he didn't have a leg. And so he wrote the poem, and what the poem said to me was, he was writing about that he could overcome his lost legs, maybe, I don't know, I can't remember. But for me, and what it says to many, many countless people, is that it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you are, you could be in the middle of a friggin' war, you can overcome your circumstances, you can be a human being, and you can live and you can love. And that's kind of what the poem said to me, and it saved me. So then I felt like, it's like that cliche, I owe my life to the person who saved me, and that's the poem. So that's kind of been part of my life ever since. But the acting was something that I did love, and I do love. I love it very dearly. I don't like the business very much, so I don't have really a whole lot of friends that are really active in the business, so to speak, like they're really in the business. Many people that come and go, but most of my friends are poets, artists, musicians, whatever. So I've pretty much dedicated myself to the life that I live, because it's what I want to be doing.
And it was not a typical Hollywood life, if I
No.
listen good. But you work with great names like Clint Eastwood
I've
and
been very fortunate.
people like that. But you never had a life as a cliche Hollywood star. isn't it?
No, not at all. And if I did, maybe I would be a star, but it doesn't matter. No, I this is how I frame it. As a child, all I did was dream that someday I'm going to be an actor. And for me, it was like my fantasy of going into outer space, which I knew all about the space program. I was a geeky little kid. Nobody liked me because I lived in my mind. You know what I mean? And my best friend at the time was a guy who was 10 times smarter than I was. And we would literally walk around the schoolyard in 4th grade talking endless things that other kids couldn't even begin to think they would want to talk about. And so my fantasy was to go to outer space, because I think it was the ultimate form of escapism from the life that I was living. I think that's really where it comes down to. And so as I tell people in my life, through everything that I've done, the poem, whether it's acting, but I think especially the poem took me to places like this. I'm only here because of the poem, and thank God I'm here. This is where I have to be right now, and it's fucking amazing. But I tell people like this. I go, as a child, I fantasized about flying to the moon. I never got there, and I never will. But man, the stars I harvest, that's where it's at, man. It's a process. Never. When I would teach acting, this is my mantra.
How hard was it?
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Okay.
This is my mantra when I teach acting. And I taught acting for a long time, and I loved it. I loved teaching. Never know where you are going, and you will always get there. That's it. Never know where you are going, and you will always get there. If you know where you're going, you're not going to make it. Because you know why? Because you're not going to go anywhere else. I want to go everywhere. And I can only go everywhere if I don't know where I'm going. Like when I came here, I really had no idea. I didn't. Nobody told me anything. They didn't.
Taoist point of view,
Oh, thank you.
The road.
That's it.
The road leads you somewhere.
Yes, the road brought me here. And it's all about the road. That's where the poetry's at. Everything, everything.
Was that all the time your attitude with writing of poems, but also in your acting?
It became my acting pretty quickly, because how could I not marry my practice? They're all creative. It's the same creative muscles. Now, technically, they're different, and yes, you must have a few extra muscles for this one, a few extra muscles for that one. But basically, you create a form for yourself through practice. You know, it's like as an actor, let's say I started out a 98-pound weakling, but through a lot of working out and everything, now I look like Charles Atlas, only nobody can see it. But it took a lot of time in the gym to get there. And the practice, who was it, said, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? I forget who it was. But the quote is practice, practice, practice. And the practice never ends. If the practice ends, you're dead. There is no such thing except practice. That's it. You know, and so every time I'm working, it's practice. Because I generally don't know where I'm going. And I know that, it's like I said, never know where you were going, you will always get there. It's very dangerous sometimes because you're definitely on the trapeze without a net a lot of the time. But that's where the magic is, man. The magic is possible because you're willing to reach for the magic. And don't get me wrong, I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm not. I'm just telling you what I believe and what I attempt to practice. And here I am. Through my practice, I'm with these gentlemen, I'm with you, and this is where it's at, man, because this is where practice, the road, brings me.
Amen.
Did the writing change through the years? The way you write, the subjects?
Yeah,
Or
I'd
is
say,
it still the same?
No. With practice comes better practice. In the beginning, I was writing very terrible poetry because I thought that's what poetry was. I didn't know. You know, that's why that junior high school experience was the beginning, because before that it was Dr. Seuss and, you know, some Hallmark greeting cards, whatever. Because I didn't grow up in a family where people read poetry, talked about poetry. We didn't even listen to records. It was kind of, in many ways, it was a creative vacuum in many ways, which is why I worship what I do, and I'm so friggin' lucky to be doing it and to be here. I can't tell you what it means when you come from a place with no rainbow, no stars, no quicksand even, nothing but quicksand. And you know, finally you step into the frame that you need to be in, and it's glory, hallelujah. And I don't even know where the hell we started. Where did we begin?
Yeah.
Where did we begin?
Yeah.
No, was there any, what was the question?
What's the answer?
There, exactly, Gertrude Stein.
Maybe give Mike to Bert for...
Okay.
Bert, wat spreekt hij zich gewoon in het werk van hem?
Het probleem, ja, ik snap de vraag, maar wat mijn jongen spreekt, het is een heel verhaal. Dus dat is een beetje...
Tell me the story. What's so interesting about Mr. Griffin and his
You want
work?
it in English or in Frisian?
Do it in Frisian. Don't worry about me. Do it in
Als
Frisian.
je,
You'll tell me later what you want me to know.
I'll translate, yeah. I'll translate the sordid part. Ja. Het is net makkelijk om een enkele vraag te beantwoorden over de relatie tussen SA en ik. Dat een enkele, dat slaagt het net. Want uw verhaal is nou 4 jaar oud. Wij zijn 4 jaar lang begonnen met corresponderen, brieven schrijven. En wat brieven schrijven. Ik hier een gedicht publiceren op een internationale website in het Engels. En daar reageerde SA op. En ik koos in namen van een blomlezing, best wel grote blomlezing, The Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. Daar koos ik in namen van. En hier reageerde op een gedicht van mij. Maar in die commentaarsectie van zo'n website. En toen dacht ik van, oké, SA Griffin. Is dat the SA Griffin? Dus dat weer wel, ik denk van oké, als die reageert op een gedicht van mij, dan ja. Dus ik op internet had ik zijn e-mailadres achterhellen, karmabam@gmail.com. En ik ga heel beskieren vragen, are you the SA Griffin reacting to a poem of mine on that website? Yes, that's who I am. En in een paar weken tijd gaan we als een raket met een wat brieven schrijven over poëzie, over het leven, over de muziek, over literatuur, body, mind en soul, over schrijvers en dichters en Los Angeles en politiek en cultuur, you name it. En dat gaat nog wel 4 jaar. En het gaat zo diep en zo vier en zo wijd. Wij zijn bronnen. En net alleen bronnen als dichters of schrijvers, maar wij zijn bronnen op het maat van lichaam, geest en ziel. En daarom is het gewoon, was toen ze het introduceren van hem is voor mij is te groot. Het is te volle. Wij hebben een baan dat is, ja, dat is de kosmos. Is voor ons eigenlijk nog eindeloos. En ja, wij hadden over dezelfde zaken. En wat mij aanspreekt in zijn werk, ik zou het niet weten. Ik lees zijn werk en ik feel het en ik verneem wat het mij docht. En, maar het is heel moeilijk onder woorden te brengen dat wat hij schreeuwt, dat feel ik, dat verneem ik, dat proef ik. En wij zijn wat dat onbelangrijk in als het op poëzie omkomt en uw gevoel over het omgaan met de muze en ja, dus ja, het is een verhaal van 4 jaar lang en het gaat heel diep en heel fier, ja.
Mooi verhaal.
Ja, dat heb je mooi gezegd, man.
Alwin, het zit misschien wat verder van die oor. Maar wat zei het zien werk daar? Doe dit wat meer op afstand, heb ik het idee.
Ja, dat is natuurlijk zo, maar ik vind het wel moeilijk. Ik hou er zelf niet van als mijn werk geanalyseerd wordt. En ik vind het ook heel moeilijk om het werk van anderen te analyseren. Zeker SE, omdat...
Spreekt het je aan?
Ja, zeker. Nou, laat ik het dan hebben over de 2 gedichten die we zojuist gehoord hebben. Of die de luisteraar of de kijker nog gaat horen. Maar in elk geval de gedichten die SE heeft voorgedragen. Er zit een enorme urgentie in. We hadden het voor de opnames even met z'n allen over de toestand in de wereld. SE die weet heel erg goed de vinger op de zere plek te leggen. En dat op een manier waarvan je denkt van, sommige regels, daar kan een andere dichter zoals ik natuurlijk wel erg jaloers op worden. Ja.
Mooi gezegd. Jammer. Ja. Nee, Mr. Griffin. Okay. You're an American. You're from a country we, as Europeans, look at it with our mouths open on this moment. What the fuck is going on there?
I don't disagree with you at all.
Can you tell me, as a poet, what's going on there?
The same thing that's happening here.
And
the
what's
same
that?
thing that's happening everywhere.
Tell me.
People are afraid because the new world is approaching.
And what is the new world?
The new world, I don't know what the new world is. We got to get there, man. No, the new world is not this world. And these people are holding on to this world for dear life because they don't want to go forward into the future. And they're willing to fight for what they think they know. But we don't know anything. And we can't know anything unless we let go of the things we don't know. But people are afraid, so they hold on to what they think they know. And it's happening all over the world. It's not just happening in the United States. It's happening here. You just had an election, correct? And the things changed. Am I correct? Yes, right?
Yes, you
Yep.
are.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's happening here. It's happening in the United States. It's happening in the Ukraine. It's happening in China. It's happening in Africa. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in the oceans. It's happening in the pollution, in the sky, in the oceans, in your body, in your mind. And we need to change. And we cannot change unless we go forward together. And somebody has got to fucking win the fight. And now we're going to be down for it. And that's what I believe. I believe we are on the verge of unfortunate things. And I hope to God I'm wrong. But this is the time when the poets should speak.
We do.
The poets should speak.
We do. That's
And
what we do.
It's
We
so
speak.
crazy because I never imagined.
Please give the mic.
I never imagined this to come out as a fight of good against evil, but it is. It is. And it's so strange to see that and to feel that and to feel that urgency. It is gonna be like the end of days.
And
There's
they
gonna
see
be a
us as evil. They think
separation.
we're evil.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Is this? Yeah.
Bert, you want to say something?
Well, you know, we as poets, we need to speak, and that's what we do. We need to write, and that's what we do. And we had a long conversation yesterday in a car from Amsterdam, from the drive from Amsterdam to my place. And the thing is, what we do, we speak and we write to move just that one individual at first.
If you move one person,
One person, you know,
won.
that's
You
what
done a great job.
that's
Yeah.
what we're here for.
That's it.
We have to move that one person.
and that person will move somebody else.
That's it, you know, multiply, multiply, multiply. But we agree, the three of us, we see some sort of sadness coming towards us because of this death of the old world. But we believe in a new world. But like SA is saying, we don't have a clue how it looks like, how it tastes, how it smells, you know, but we do know there is love and there is sadness. And what we do, we write and we speak to move that one person who sees and hears and tastes and feels the same thing, like, oh my God, this is not going to happen. And that's
Move them towards love.
Yeah, and
Move
the
them.
action. Because love is an action, you know, and it's a cliche, but what do? We embrace the cliches gladly and we wear them proudly.
Yes.
Then it's no longer a cliche.
Do we need a new summer of love?
No, we need a new world of love. The summer's too small. We need a world of love, and that's, I think, where we're going. It's not, in the past, these sorts of revolutions happened in places. And yeah, the summer of love kind of spread across the world in a way, but it didn't stick. What I saw, though, over this weekend at Rijgoord, correct?
Yeah.
That was the ongoing summer of love. And I don't think it's happening. I can't even believe it's happening anywhere else in the world like it is here. My mind is totally blown. It's totally blown. It's what the 60s tried to accomplish but couldn't quite get there for any number of reasons. So maybe then we're talking about a summer of love that is an endless summer of love somehow, but that's impossible. But the new world has to happen, and the new world might not be the future that we would hope it is. But, you know, it's all process. You know,
We have to keep dancing, you know.
Oh, no, we definitely
dancing,
have to
and
keep dancing.
We are. I mean, the surprising thing about yesterday was, and Sunday, when we met at Rijgoord and we performed over there and you performed at that festival at Rijgoord, is that you came over from LA without any expectation whatsoever.
I didn't have a clue.
You didn't have a clue. And we didn't enlighten you either, you know, because...
And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, but that was not on purpose. It's like,
Doesn't matter.
what are we going to tell this guy from LA, man? Come on, he's 70 and he's coming to Rijgoord, and there is this hippie festival with song and dance and music and poetry. And in the evening of the first day, you already said, oh my God, this is what died back home in the States, but it's still alive here.
Yeah.
And when you connect that to what we do as poets, as writers, we speak and we perform for those people, that small community, so that those people, let's say there were 1,000, multiplies to 2,000, and that multiplies to 4,000 and 8,000 and 16,000. And that is, if you talk about sadness and love, what we, the three of us, saw this weekend is like, that's hope, you know.
Yes, but
that's
there
hope.
also was sadness because
There's sadness because, yes. Exactly.
the lease is going to end in 25 years. Dit is het laatste stukje voor Rijgoord. Ze hebben net weer een nieuwe verlenging van hun huurcontract van de grond gehad voor de komende 25 jaar. Maar daarna is het waarschijnlijk echt gebeurd. Er mogen maar beperkt nieuwe mensen bij. En alleen als er iemand weggaat. Dus enige groei is niet mogelijk. het gaat inkrimpen. En dit is waarschijnlijk de laatste verlenging die ze krijgen. Dus voor mij, ik heb er 30 jaar geleden opgetreden met een bandje. En ik heb er 2 jaar geleden opgetreden met Pauper. Wat een fantastische ervaring was om er terug te zijn op die manier. En dit jaar. En voor mij is het plezier en de enorme energie die je krijgt van die plek. Die is altijd vermengd, zeker de laatste 2 keer, met een beetje een gevoel van droefheid. Omdat ik weet dat dit toch ook aan het verdwijnen is. Hè.
Weemoed.
Ja, weemoed.
Ja.
Ja.
Op naar een nieuwe toekomst.
Ja.
Misschien kun je meneer Griffin nog even één keer de microfoon geven. Are you gonna act in the next time, or you're gonna
as soon as they call me and say, let's go.
Yeah. But
No,
what
I'm still in the business.
Okay, what are your plans for the coming time?
How about yesterday? You got this email from this agent.
Oh, well, that was nothing. I'm 70 years old. In the entertainment business, anything past 65 is dead.
He's dead.
No, that's kind of the way they view it. And for an agent to reach out to me when they know that I'm represented, they reached out to me and said they were very interested in me. And I just looked at it and I go, well, this is a trip, man. Because, this is coming out of left field. It's generated by something and I don't know what it is. But it's a compliment to be asked to a dance for sure, but I don't think I'd leave my agent, because we've had a lifelong relationship. No, we've had a lifelong relationship, and I did kind of leave him once for a little while, and then I ended up going back because it's a relationship. It's like a marriage, and he's not a big agent at all, and now he's my agent manager, so to speak, and but he's the person I'm married to, and that's who I'm going to go to the dance with. So I can't imagine where I'd go, and he probably won't be doing it for much longer. And then by the time that's done, these people, I'll go to them and I say, "Hey, remember me?" And they go, "No." But no, it's I'm still in the business because I'm sick. I'm very sick, and what I mean is I can't quit. I can't leave. It's impossible because the poem is never done. And acting is a poem that I live, and it's never done. So I can't leave. It's a lover that I can't leave.
Also the writing?
No, the writing, the way that I frame it, as I think I said to you earlier, off camera, was acting is always my business. Sometimes it's my love. Poetry is always my love. Sometimes it's my business. And so poetry keeps me alive, absolutely keeps me alive. Acting doesn't keep me alive. It puts bread on the table. And I love doing it. I don't care for the business much, but I love the process and I love acting. I mean, what's wonderful with the poem, anything creative process is universal, whether it's acting, poetry, whatever the hell it is. The process is universal. How you practice the process, depending upon the tools, is different. But the process is universal. So, but in the practice of acting, it's very important to me because I want to be at a place, and this is, I think, what everybody really wants. I want to fly. That's what I want to be flying all the time. And when you achieve the act of flight, you're untouchable. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's not an ego thing. It is a thing of practice when we were talking about Zen of the Art of Archery, Eugen Herrigel. That's my Bible, basically. I love that book. But it's about the archer becomes the target, and then you never miss. And that's what I've tried to do with many things. I'm very sloppy because I never know where I'm going. I just know I'll get there.
Thank you.